So, the main event in the next few hours, that big announcement that former President Donald Trump is promising, even as some senior Republicans urge him not to make it. He's going ahead despite the underperformance of Republicans in the midterm elections last week. The former president has summoned the media to his Florida estate. His Mar-a-Lago speech slated for 9 p.m. local time tonight. The development comes days after senior Trump aide Jason Miller said that he was trying to talk his boss out of formally launching his presidential bid as early as this week. Republicans, though, could soon be spoilt for choice. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has successfully kept Trump at arm's length, will be looking to capitalize on his own massive re-election win last week. And former Vice President Mike Pence has published a new memoir, a move that suggests he is planning a presidential run of his own. He spoke to ABC News about the choices Republicans may soon have.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
David, I think that's up to the American people. But I think we'll have better choices in the future.
The former Republican governor of New Jersey, Christie, meanwhile called Trump a serial loser who should not run for the White House again. He said the only winning that has been done since Donald Trump has been president is for Donald Trump. Christie, of course, made a failed presidential bid of his own in 2016. He said he is tired of Republican losses after the much-vaunted red wave of support promised by Trump on the midterm campaign trail failed to materialize. But Republicans know Trump still speaks for a core group of supporters with absolute loyalty to him, even though most Americans think Trump, like Biden, should give 2024 a miss.
Hoping we find another candidate that, whether it be from Florida or Texas, that kind of sees our country in a different light and not so party bound, but wants to work with both sides to accomplish something for our country.
Because I think a lot of people have had enough of his rhetoric, his lying, his political extremism, his untethered from reality, his narcissism, and all the right-wing politicians who ascribe to those beliefs and act like that and have done so much damage to our American political system. I think people have finally become aware of it and they're tired of it. And hopefully we will not see his like again.
And so for more on all of this, over to WION's US correspondent Susan Tehrani. She joins us live again from New York today. Susan, none of this is a particularly great look for Donald Trump. His own advisors, some of them urging him not to make this announcement, failing to change his mind. Republicans falling over themselves to get onto American television saying they believe that his time may now have passed. And yet it looks like he is going to take the wraps off his decision to seek another 4 years in office in what, just about 12 and a half hours' time?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Simon. I couldn't have put it better. You know, it's interesting. Perhaps one segment of the population that would benefit from this announcement, at least right now, would probably be the Democratic Party. But we'll wait and see what happens in 2 years' time. Let's not talk about that. Maybe Donald Trump at this point thinks that he's clearing the playing field by making this announcement right now. Also, remember, there are a lot of indictments looming for Donald Trump, and perhaps making an announcement regarding a presidential run may signify that those indictments on the part of the Justice Department and Merrick Garland would then deem to be political if he becomes a presidential nominee so early on in the game. And then, you know, we talked about how he's sitting on so much cash and he's the only person who really ran a national campaign regarding, the elections. So Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's hard to imagine anyone would benefit except Donald Trump himself. The Republican Party right now is in tatters. There is a lot of infighting right now. There are a lot of Trump supporters who are blaming the Mitch McConnell camp. So we'll wait and see what happens. But, you know, at this point in time, the knives are out. But getting rid of Donald Trump may be easier said than done. For the Democrats and the Republicans, by the way.
And Susan, it's possible that by the time he makes his speech tonight, the Republicans may have got a bit of good news, because it seems evident that they are going to end up with a wafer-thin majority in the House of Representatives. And we may, within the next 12 hours, get the official news that they've taken control of the House of Representatives as vote counting continues out on the West Coast in some of the races that will be determinative. But in a House of Representatives in which the Republicans may end up with a majority of only 4 or 5 seats, the power of the Freedom Caucus, Donald Trump's kind of wing within the House of Representatives, in some ways becomes accentuated, because if the Republican leadership wants to get stuff done, I mean, the Freedom Caucus at that point will have the power to exercise influence, because the leadership, whoever the leader ends up being, will need all the votes they can get and will need Republican unity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Kevin McCarthy ends up being the leader of the Republican Party, he really has his work cut out for him. On the one hand, he is expected to get things done as you expected. On the other hand, you have the Freedom Caucus that wants to really go after investigations, notably Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the origins of COVID, Anthony Fauci, withdrawal from Afghanistan, you name it. And whether or not he has the expertise and experience, really, of someone like Nancy Pelosi to deal with, let's say, the squad, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party on the one hand, and then, you know, someone like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema on the other, is yet to be seen. But, you know, really controlling and bringing the Republican Party together, as you mentioned, with such a razor-thin majority, if it ends up happening, which it looks like it does, it will, is really going to be a very difficult task. And then trying to work with the Democrats on the other hand, I mean, it's really a job that I don't think anyone would really want to volunteer for. But you know, it looks like Kevin McCarthy wants it. There's a lot of infighting and discussion regarding that as well, whether or not, you know, he's Trumpian enough. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, difficult task indeed.